In 2019, a joint study by Blancco and Ontrack revealed a very disturbing truth that 42% of second-hand hard drives sold online still contained sensitive data, including personal documents, financial records, company emails, and even government credentials. This alarming discovery proves one thing, that deleting files or formatting a disk is simply not enough to keep your data safe from prying eyes. In today's video, I'll walk you through the proper and secure methods of destroying data permanently, so you never unknowingly give away sensitive information when disposing of or selling your storage devices. So stay tuned, because what you learn today could save you or your company or your client from a costly data breach. So on this system, I'm going to take you to the File Explorer. And these are the volumes that we have available. The document volume with drive letter E, the new volume with drive letter F, and the local disk C, which always contains the operating system files. I'm going to as well take you to my disk management. So I open run and then type in diskmgmt.msc. So this takes us to the disk management console. The 0 over here is the disk that contains volume C. Disk 1 contains volume E, and disk 3 also containing volume F. So we are going to work with the documents volume as well as the new volume to learn how to permanently destroy data before our hard drives are disposed. Now, certain organizations periodically or at a certain point in time will have to dispose of their older systems and bring in new ones. So when that happens, sometimes they offer them to charity or they give them to institutions for learning purposes. You don't have to allow the confidential data stored on the various hard drives of these systems to be out there for people to have access to them. So if you find yourself in that IT space and you are in charge, you will have to permanently destroy the data before you dispose of these systems, so that you don't give away confidential data of your organization to malicious people. So this can be done in two main ways. Now, all the tools that we are going to use over here are built-in utilities on Microsoft operating systems. So we are going to use the diskpart utility, which is available on all Microsoft operating system editions, as well as the cipher command, which is also available on all the Microsoft editions. So we are going to use these two different methods to learn how to destroy data. Now, beginning from the documents volume, which we have these two directories, we are going to begin with the first approach, which is the diskpart utility. So I'm going to open command prompt. I type CMD in the start menu field or in the search bar field for command prompt, and then I run as administrator. So here I'm going to type diskpart. So diskpart, and then I type list disk. So the list disk lists all the available drives on the system. So disk 0, as we checked earlier, was the disk which contained the operating system with volume letter C and a size of 32 gigabytes. So we can see from behind over here for the disk C, and then also disk 1, which is 8 gigabytes for volume letter E, the documents volume, and then the last one being disk 3 with a size of 1024 megabytes, which is 1 gigabyte. So we are going to select disk 1. So select disk 1, and then my next command will be clean all. Now what this command is going to do is that it will wipe everything on that disk beyond recovery. So it's going to delete every partition. Now, assuming that there was 3, 4, or 5 partitions on that disk, this command is going to clean all of the partitions and merge them as a single partition. So it's going to convert all of them to unallocated space and also wipe out the partition table. Either it is MBR or GPT, it's going to wipe everything from the disk beyond recovery. So it's going to do it in such a way that not even a forensic tool like autopsy or recover can be used to recover files from this drive when this command is executed. It's going to delete everything. Alright, so I'm going to hit the enter key, and we have seen that even though the command hasn't yet completed what it's supposed to do, but we have seen that the document volume is no longer existing in the file explorer, as you can see from behind over here in the file explorer that the document volume is gone. So we are still waiting for this command to finish. It doesn't take too long, but I don't know why it's delaying that much. So we are going to wait for the command to complete. Then we go to the disk management to see how the disk is also going to look like. So it's going to delete everything and convert the disk to an offline state, or it's going to require you to initialize the disk where you have to choose a partition table before the disk becomes usable. So it says the dispatch succeeded in cleaning the disk. Alright, so we are going to go back to the disk management console. So here in the console, the moment the management console open, we have a pop-up over here to initialize the disk, which is disk 1. So when you check over here, it says unknown disk not initialized. So if the disk is not initialized, it means it doesn't have any partition table. So we will have to choose either of these, which is MBR or GPT. So this is telling us that the disk has completely been wiped beyond any recovery means, or beyond the means of recovery, because it doesn't even have a partition table. So we will have to choose a new one before the disk becomes usable. Alright, so that is one way of permanently wiping the contents of your drive before you dispose them. Now let's come to the next option, which is by using the cipher command. Now the cipher command only can be used to wipe a free space on the disk. So in the case of this disk, which is 1 gigabyte, 0.9 gigabytes, you have a free space of 139 megabytes. So the cipher command can only permanently wipe everything from the free space by writing zeros and random numbers to the sectors of that free space, so that they will be unable to be recovered. But it's going to leave behind the files on that drive, which is not what we intend to do. So we will have to manually delete all the files from the disk in order for us to have a free space, and then we execute the cipher command. Or we can do formatting on the disk before we execute the cipher command. Either of them is okay. So before we try to do the formatting or deletion of the content on the disk, I would like to execute the cipher command for us to see how it works whilst there are files on the system. So these are the files. After executing the cipher command, we are still going to have the files still existing on the disk. Alright, so I'm going to open command prompt over here. This time I type exit to exit the dispatch utility, and then I type in cipher /w. So /w simply means wipe, colon, and then I specify the volume letter, in this case volume letter F, colon, /. So I hit the enter key to begin removing or wiping the data. Now how fast the cipher command executes or wipes the content depends on the size of the available free space on the system. So it does it in 3 different steps. The first one is to write zeros to the sectors of the disk. It will wipe the content and write zeros to them. The second step is by writing ones to these sectors, and the last step is to write random numbers to the sectors in order to render the drive unusable or beyond recovery of any data on the disk. Alright, so we can see that even after executing the command, we still have the contents of the disk available. So that is not what we intend to do. So we will have to perform formatting on the disk before we execute the cipher command, so that when the disk becomes free and we execute the cipher command, it's completely going to wipe everything from that disk. So I'm going to right click over here and then come to format. Now, when you perform a quick format as it's already been checked over here, it's going to just delete the structures or the file system on the disk, but the files or the indexes of the files are still going to remain. That is why you are able to recover some of these files after they have been formatted. But when you uncheck this box and do a full formatting, that one is going to delete the structures or the file system on the disk and also write zeros to the sectors of the drive. In other words, overwrite any file index on that disk so that you cannot recover the files from that drive, or even after you have been able to recover, they will be returned as broken files that you cannot use. Alright, so in the case of what we are doing, it will be necessary to perform a deep formatting or a full formatting, which will clear or replace all the file tables and then scan for any bad sectors, which is optional, and then also wipe everything including the indexes of the files, and also overwrite them by writing zeros to the sectors of the disk. So I'm going to click start over here to wipe the content of the disk, and then afterwards we execute the cipher command to wipe completely every space on that disk. So you can see that the content of the disk are now gone. In order not to leave room for recovery, like maybe using autopsy tools which are very powerful, forensic tools which are very powerful, like the autopsy or the recover, you can also perform the cipher command to completely wipe the disk beyond recovery. So over here, I'm going to recall the cipher command. It's the same command that we executed earlier. So I'm going to hit the enter key to perform the cipher command one more time. So there are third-party programs that can be used to wipe a disk clean before they are disposed. One of them is the AOMEI partition magic, which is a very powerful tool to do that. Alright, so the cipher command is done with writing numbers, ones, and random numbers to the disk over here. Now, when you want to know that a disk has completely been wiped, when your cipher command executes successfully without any errors, then it tells you that that disk has completely been wiped. But when you want to know it in practical terms, you will have to use a recovery tool to try to recover the files that were on the disk before the cipher command was executed. So if the recovery tool is able to recover any files, then it means what you did wasn't successful. But if it is unable to recover any files, then your cipher command was successful. Or you can also try it after you have used the clean all command in the dispatch utility to check if your data has completely been cleaned by using any of those data recovery tools like the erasers. Alright, so now you know the truth. Simply deleting files or performing a disk format doesn't protect your data. As the Blancco and Ontrack study proved, improperly wiped drives can expose your private information to anyone with simple recovery tools. So whether you are upgrading your system or disposing of old hardware, always perform secure data destruction the right way. If you find this guide helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more cybersecurity insights, and share this video to help others avoid critical mistakes. So if you've got any questions or want to see a special practical demo, drop a comment below. Until next time, stay safe, stay secure, and protect your data at all costs.